My guest for the morning, I have to my extreme left, John Alexander Akon. He's a Deputy Minister for Gender, Children, Social Protection. Did I get it right?
Yeah, just introduce the end and okay. Social protection, make it complete.
But he is currently the Member of Parliament candidate for the NDC in Obuasi West. Thanks for joining me, sir. How was your Yuletide?
Oh, great. It was wonderful with the church programs. I did 25th.
In the constituency?
Yeah, in the constituency. I'm a Catholic, and I had an interaction with the Bishop of Obuasi Diocese, Most Reverend John Yao Afwakwa. So 25th, 31st, the 1st, and the 3rd, I had a solid interaction amongst other local interactions. So to me, it's more engaging and more of spiritual cleansing, so that God will take us through perfectly the year 2016, and quite hopeful of the direction of the Almighty God.
Okay. Very interesting as it is. And I also have Kamaldeen Abdullahi. He's somebody whose name and position I like mentioning because it rhymes, I mean, to me. Kamaldeen Abdullahi is the National Nasara Coordinator of the NPP. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks. Good morning, Roland.
Yeah, it's been a while. We haven't met. We need to meet over lunch.
Yeah, we have to. We have to.
It's a new year.
Just that I'm happy the spiritual aspect is brought in by my good brother and uncle, Alex Akon, regarding our forward march as a people in this year. It's excellent, it's good. I pray that spiritually God is going to cleanse all the incompetence around us and also ensure that we get a very conducive and cushioned economic atmosphere.
I'll Kamaldeen for you. If you say we're in a new year, and so we need change. I guess that's an intensified change. He just doesn't cool off, does he? We have Francis Kuma. He's with the GPRTU. He's the current, is it chairman? Kwame Kuma is the current chairman of the GPRTU. That's the Ghana Private Road Transport Union. And they've already issued a stern warning to government that following those announcements that have been made that there are incrementals in petrol and other petroleum products we have at the pumps and also on the market, they are also likely going to increase commercial transport fares. Well, we don't know what really the other arguments are for increasing, but he's on the line. Mr. Kwame Kuma, very good morning to you. But the first question I would want to ask you, when we had the reductions, you didn't see it appropriate to reduce the fares. Why now do you want to increase them?
Thank you. Let me greet your listeners. The reduction which comes doesn't specifically make this. If they are deducting 2%, 1%, that we can't reduce the price. Because if the price comes and the deduction is this now, the minister himself will call us for us to sit down, for us to discuss about the deduction. But then they themselves know that the deduction which comes, you can't reduce the fares. Because of that, they are not calling us.
Okay. If perhaps you have put your phone on speaker, I would urge you to get closer to the phone so that we can hear your arguments very soundly. But so do I get the conclusion that because you haven't been called by the minister, it means that you have to do further discussions or consultations before, or you just abruptly go ahead and then do the incrementals in the fares?
No, nobody can do increment without going to the certain minister and discuss with. Because we are all in Ghana here, you can't come out and do what you want to do without going to your certain minister. So the price has come out. I will pitch the drivers to register patients. Everybody should register patients. We just from holidays. Today we will go and sit down and let the consultants sit down with us and know what to do. Because we can't use only fuel to make the increment. It contains a lot of things, tires, big food, engine oil, insurance, roadwork fee, and a lot of things before you can run a transport. So far as the increment has come, you're supposed to sit down, and all the stakeholders also, you will meet with the minister, so we can discuss through that. We come out with the amount you're supposed to correct for people to hear. So now, no one should correct any new price. You should correct all of them. They should correct old price because unless we sit down with the minister and finish everything before the price will come out.
Well, it's an interesting point you make, but do I get the conclusion that no matter what happens, there's going to be an increment.
For that one, the percentage they put, that shows that no matter how it is, the increment will come. For that one, they will do, but it's not today. Everybody should exert patience unless we make a certain distance and conclude everything before the price will come out.
Following this very announcement by you, have you been getting excessive pressure from those in government that you should tone down and not be sounding the trumpet that you will increase the fares?
No, we will increase the fares, but no one is going to out to bring any price without meeting the certain minister. You won't do that.
Okay.
Because you're supposed to do something to have, let us think about Ghana first. You see? So you sit down with them and finance everything. No one will come out and bring a price without the knowledge of the minister. It won't be happy so.
Okay, I have
know that the minister is not there, but so far as the administrators are there, we'll go and meet them for us to sit down and know what to do.
But thank you very much, Kwame Kuma. You're the chairman for the GPRTU. That's the Ghana Private Road Transport Union. And the first question I would want to ask would have to go to you. You're in government, so I'm not saying you're the Minister of Transport, but presumably, when they increase transport fares, it has rippling effects on other sectors as well. And we should be worried.
Oh, why not? Why not? Like you said, I'm not there, so I cannot really be on top. But averagely, I read just this morning and said that Parliament passed a new energy levy. It is said that ordinarily, if Parliament has not passed that levy, they wouldn't, in fact, there would have been a reduction in fuel prices. So, what is the purpose? We need to go through that. Now, if there's a levy passed, and it's called a new energy levy, I guess what it's talking about is Ghana should not go back to doom so the levy should address issues of increase of 10 to 12% every year. So we should get a consistent and sustainable funding for that particular bar, but we need to get on top of that issue from Parliament so that I can talk through it very strongly. But then, transport fares, I think there's a solution to it. Mr. Kuma was speaking about insurance. I don't think insurance has caused any increase. He's talking about tires. I don't think any tire has been increased.
Insurance has increased over the period.
Yes, yes.
Actually, it's been agreed that there will be incremental periods over the next 12 months.
You know something? At times it's interesting, but we need to solve it. How do you pass insurance to the passenger? But then there are schematics of working, and I think they will do that under the National Transport Coordinating Committee. So let's find out. But to me, there's a solution to it. The solution is in mass transport, where you use resources to solve better situations in the country, yet the spread of the cost will not be huge on anyone. So those of us who may be boarding those buses should have a stress on it. Now let's do some small examples. If you come to Ghana, if you take Tama, Accra, the small buses, I think they take about 15, 20 people or so, if not less. So when you are spreading, even for 10 cities or 20 cities, it should not have any effect. But unfortunately, in trying to do the calculation, remember, if you do Accra Tama and you do about 5 times a day, and you are putting an increase on it, you should consider the number of persons per truck, per trip, and have the number of times.
And what's your argument?
My argument is that when you spread transport costs over high capacity buses, the effect is nil. But if you still maintain 15-seater buses, it creates problems. So I think we should firstly move towards mass transportation. If you leave 50 people per trip and anything is increased and you spread, the people will not feel anything.
Kamal, almost like Honorable John Alexander Cohen is trying to give a solution and ameliorate perhaps the tempers. But the thing is, logically, in our country, the thing about public transport is almost negligible. Yeah. We haven't improved it since we introduced the mass transit system back within the 2003 period when the Kufuor administration introduced it. You take a look at the poor nature of the roads we have, and so drivers have torrid times, etc. It has an incremental effect on pricing of local produce, etc. So everywhere is affected.
Well, Roland, good morning. And let me say a very happy new year to you, the entire crew of Joy News and of course, or multimedia, I should say, and also to my uncle Alex Akon. Happy New Year to you. It's sad we are going to begin a year like this under the management of the likes of my good uncle Alex Akon and co, or under the mismanagement of them. Let me not use management because there's no management at all. It's mismanagement. It's sad we are beginning a year like this. The panacea he's just professed to us indeed would have been very good. However, in the 7th year, in the 8th year of their reign, the panacea is coming up now. Under their own watch, public transport, which you rightly put it, being very beneficial and essential to us, was actually brought about more by the ex-Wal government, Kufuor government, which just left before they came in. And when they came in, of course, a lot of work was done on it, lot of proposals, lot of implementations and all that. Today, just before getting into this year, we saw a transport minister resigning under their watch because of public transport matter. I'm happy that he's actually professing this, that public transport should be given a very excellent, as it were, boost and all that, so we can spread the cost when it comes to big buses and the effect will be low. That would have been good. Honorable Jafar Ativo had to withdraw because of public transport saga.
But it's not directly related to the issue.
No. She wasn't happy because somebody has gone to procure a bus close to 100,000 Ghana cedis and had to use 31,000 plus just to paint it red, gold, green under their watch. Just to paint it. 300 million.
So your argument is what?
No, my argument is that, yes, we can speak nicely to people. We can tell Ghanaian people how good we want to do this and all that. It is one thing talking, is another thing implementing.
So they don't implement.
And I'm saying, if they were implemented,
they know what's in the textbook, but they don't implement.
Roland, if they were implemented, would we have had a Minister of Transport resigning over just painting of buses, public transport?
But I'm saying it's not a related matter.
Had that.
It's
anyway,
not related.
it's related.
Okay.
You see, point is,
okay.
we've had the chief of staff.
I asked the question.
Yeah, I'm coming to the
effect
question.
On the other side
I know.
of the economy.
Point is that we've had the chief of staff coming to say that, look, review this contract and then let the company pay us back some money. It then means that value for money was not actually looked at. Clearly, that's what I'm trying to say here. And if, of course, we were doing things haphazardly and wanted the public transport system to run well, okay, we will not achieve whatever we want. We'll be where we are. That is why we are where we are. Now, my point is that we are starting this year on a very wrong note because when you go to the international market and look at the prices of crude oil, it's running around $36 a barrel.
And I would want to check
under normal circumstances, factors that inform increment of fuel in this country, in our economy, has to do with, one, prices of crude oil in the world market, has to do with forex exchange, okay, and has to do with some taxes that we have on it and all that. Clearly, he did mention that what has warranted this increment to a whooping increment by 30% has to do with the tax that they quickly move into parliament to pass. That is the petroleum tax revenue or whatever they call it. You get what I mean? Now, it means that we are having people who mismanage this country without recourse to any feeling of the Ghanaian populace.
That's your interpretation.
Of course, that's the point. They don't have any feeling for us. No sense. Look, they are not pathetic. I mean, they're not sensitive to our plight. They are completely insensitive to the plight of Mother Ghana. I mean, Ghanaians, so to speak. And he knows that.
Just because
so
we find this increment.
Why not? But for the tax. You see, the very lazy way of managing an economy is to impose taxes on your people.
Then how do we make money?
That is the laziest way. Let me tell you how you're going to make money. Why is there? We've had a whole lot of a way of managing an economy where unnecessarily you don't burden your people with taxes, especially when it comes to a party that calls itself a social democratic party, where at least socialism, as it were, is part of you a bit. Today, we sit here in this country and virtually everything has been taxed. Have you forgotten? You remember not too long ago, condoms were going to be taxed. Not too long ago. But that was their proposal. Condoms, which will help us prevent HIV, was going to be taxed, so you can't even buy a condom, go and get HIV. These people were going to do it. When the hue and cry came out, they sat back. Today, just going into New Year, where you say the economy, actually hardship is there, and the Vice President has said it at Cape Coast. He said that, look, he acknowledges the fact that there's hardship. The economy is hard. The next moment you go to parliament and go within 2 days, that under certificate of emergency or whatever they call it, you have imposed tax on us, and then instead of fuel coming down, fuel has gone up. When transport fares are coming, you are now telling us that we should go and rather spread it on big buses. We shouldn't use small buses.
Wrap up for me.
Are you saying this? Okay. So for me, this government has actually been insensitive to the plight of Ghanaians, and we should show them the exit. They have been incompetent. They have not managed this country well. They are clueless and they are visionless. I'm sorry to be very hard on them this morning. Clueless,
incompetent. Those are the
I'm
words
just worried. Emotionally, I'm worried by the way we have been managed.
But I know you want to react. Yes. But how do you reconcile this when on the international market, for example, going to the oilprice.net, where usually you get there, for Brent crude, we have $37 at least, and just inch up 0.8 to 37 as far as the normal one is concerned, 0.44 up. And then our country, just because we introduce a certain levy, we're skyrocketing.
Well,
how do we
he mentioned it, he just said it.
I would want to remain very focused. So there are two reactions I would do, and then I come to the relationship here. The first one is about bus rapid transport. Unfortunately, in 2003 and 4, the Metro Mass did not serve mass transportation, which otherwise should aid the Ghanaian in reducing the pressure. It became a highway truck. But now we commute internally than externally. And that's why the board of people move one way to the other. And that's why it's supposed to serve. Number two, those buses were not intended to be highway. If you look at the seats, they are plastic. From Obuasi to here is 4 or 5 hours. So that is not the intent. It's for short distance travel to ease internal. What the government has done is very simple. Do what is required for bus rapid transport. Import 2 things, high capacity, 100-seater, and the number is over 300. And then number 2, make sure it is even disability friendly so that everybody can board. And then let it operate within the cities and not out.
It doesn't take away from the fact that it's still not mass.
It is mass.
Absolutely.
It is mass. It is mass.
It's not easy. It is not easy in people's.
No, it is mass. It is mass for internal travel. Nobody is going to suffer any consequence because the buses are running, and wherever it's going to be, it's not going to suffer because the spread on 100 people is nil.
Okay, you've dealt with
so it is mass. So obviously there's a solution by this government to address it with internal transportation. And you know what they did was that all the districts around Accra, particularly, were part of the management. So now all the major arterial roads.
So because there's going to be this outlay, that is why ultimately we decided to introduce a certain levy.
I'm saying that the point at stake is that what is the effect of price increase on people? If you can alleviate that one and you solve a need, you have done very well.
Can we solve it?
Solidly, but the point is that the bus started, they will do that
job. Relationship for me.
Very simple. Ghana is now an exporter of oil. Within the oil law, there are safeguards. You have to get stability levy there, you have to get heritage there. And then on top of that, you have to do development from the oil sector. And remember, even for the stability and heritage, they have to cap it. And some of them should go into infrastructure and other budget support. Now, if ordinarily we were not exporting oil and there's a reduction, we should say hallelujah. But if you are also exporting and importing, they try the balance. Are we losing out in terms of revenue? Yes. Now, even for the Jubilee Patriots and others, Cosmos or others, revenue has drastically gone down, which is affecting the local economy. So if you disregard the effect on the oil industry within your own country and say that let's just respond to the standard one on the price.
Well, someone will question then government's own mindset and policy towards the other sectors then. Because 7 years before now, we're not dependent on oil.
Unfortunately,
and as a result of that, we know the economy has expanded.
Exactly.
So I know, and our sums have also increased as far as our expenditure.
Exactly.
That's what I know. That's what you want to say. But somebody would say ultimately, you have to look at 2 holes with 1 eye. Is that not what you need to do?
When the economy expands, it comes with responsibilities which you have to respond to. You cannot just expand an economy and say that is the end. it comes with a responsibility.
And so you're saying the financial responsibilities
you have to respond to the exactly. The only point is
does
that
it mean so burdening the ordinary Ghanaian according to what your chances are from?
I cannot begrudge him because he will say that when he needs power. But the point I'm saying is that the solution, the solution.
Are you saying the ordinary Ghanaian is not burdened by an increment of some 28%?
If you give me just a minute, I will come there.
I'll give you 2 minutes. Actually, I won't give you a minute. I'll give you 2 minutes.
To alleviate the effect on the people, I said the buses are there ready to roll out and work. Some are already working on the e-ticketing. And time is also a factor in GDP. So it's going to offset all these issues. So I think that there's a real solution to the problem. They should roll the buses out, let it work, so that the effect on the people will be minimal. And I think we'll be there.
You make it sound as safe. You make it sound as safe. The trucks that will be commuting from the marketing centers and also the agro-producing areas are also going to be on mass transport.
Absolutely.
Anyway, but then we have to close the argument on this. The reality is the increments have come. How do we contend with it? You're a political party in the opposition, but the point is we also need to be very empathetic to government. Because we need money as a country.
We have been so empathetic to government. And you see, let me crave your indulgence to use 2 minutes just to address what my good brother is saying, the minister. See, the point is that, first and foremost, if he says that Ghanaians commute more internally than intracity, than intercity, I disagree with him.
No, he's talking about the numbers.
Absolutely.
It's about the quantum.
No,
exactly.
Of course.
Because you may not have a lot more people
urbanization
we're talking about the rounds.
I say the rural-urban drift gives us that population in our urban centers. I agree with him. That's okay. But my point here is that when there's increment on tariffs in terms of when it comes to transportation, it affects more those in the hinterland than we in the cities.
How?
Why? Let me tell you why. Point is that you brought in agro products and how they would come in and how that is going to have rippling effect on the common Ghanaian. Of course, if I was going to carry my banche from maybe say for Bodiaba to Chok to Accra, and hitherto I paid say 10 Ghana cedis. By this increment, maybe I'm supposed to pay 12 Ghana cedis. 2 cedis has come to add. That, of course, is going to have an effect on me, on the common Ghanaian, negatively. Because the person who is bringing it would have to transfer the cost to the final consumer. That is a fact. So when he says that we are not affected by some of these things, I'm surprised. Now, my point I want to make, which is very, very important, is of course, by interpretation of what you said, clearly that's what you meant. That it doesn't. You see, my point here is that we sit in this country, and from 2013 till date, his own government goes to Parliament with a budget. Look at page 86 of the 2013 budget. Look at page 84 of 2014 budget. Page 73 of 2015 budget. All talks about agriculture. And talks about how we're going to help agriculture and promises towards agriculture. All those promises, they have failed. On mechanization, I'm coming. On mechanization, on fertilizer.
And you are raising this because?
I'm raising this because these are factors that come to accumulate and affect us negatively as a people. And of course, our living condition would not be able to move on. As an economy.
Because it means that if we're getting low revenues from oil, we shouldn't have been worried because agriculture.
Now the oil matter is, that's what I'm going to find out. That's going to be final. 2001 to 2008, this country never saw oil. No. We never saw oil.
But the base of the economy
2009, we never, of course, we had a very excellent economic growth.
A small economy.
Without oil, you have a revenue. Due to that, you have been able to raise up to 200 billion Ghana cedis. Compared to someone who raised close to 20 billion Ghana cedis and instituted all this mass transport, all this health insurance, all these things out of the 20 billion. You have had 200 billion. You come to sit here and you tell us that oil revenue, because there's a decline in the international market, is affecting us, and therefore our economy cannot rise. I am saying that my argument is that we should not say that because of the oil that we are exporting now, so when there's a reduction at the international market, it affects entirely our economy. Hitherto, where were we getting the money to? It is mismanagement and complete mismanagement.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
From what you're saying, it's not
mismanagement. The forex market,
and it's something also for which we've had some economists also agree.
You get a lot and you can't even manage it.
It's okay. Relax. You are too heated up.
You have a lot and you can't.
It is my government, so let him relax. I talk about my government.
We're not talking about your government. It's our government. You see, when you do this, I'm not. It's our government.
It's okay. Come on, relax. Please, I'll give you only 2 minutes. Unfortunately, we have to move on to some other
government.
We have to move on to some other subjects.
So I'm addressing my government. You know, the end result justifies an input. When it comes to agri, just go down and look at the price of food. If the price is expensive, it implies police are not working.
And it's expensive. Go and buy a bowl of kenke. And you know.
To me, one of the greatest things that has happened to this country is the price of foodstuffs on the market. They've been very stable and good. Yes.
That's not true. I've been following your reports every time.
Please, let him make his point.
No, this is serious.
Anyway,
I'm okay.
He's okay now.
To me, it's been wonderful.
But it's not true.
You can get to any food joint and look at them.
What would you say because you can afford?
Well, if in Accra, it is not true.
Have you gone to the restaurants and asked of...
Not restaurant. Just ask a bowl of a kenke. A bowl of, how much is a bowl of kenke?
You were just asked to relax, if you can.
No, I wanted to...
you were just asked to relax if you can.
No, I am. I can.
Thank you very much.
You are not remaining focused.
It's okay. Come on, you're too agitated.
If you try to get... I will help you out. Very simply. Today, go to Alaji. You know Alaji? Go and buy wachi. And then come to Laboni and buy wachi. Go to La Paz, you'll see the difference. So don't use the restaurant. It's a choice. If your choice is to eat from the restaurant, you can get 100 Ghana cedis, you can get 30, and you can get 50. It is your choice. If you want to go and shop in Abublushi, you can do that. But if you want to shop in East Legon, it's also a choice. On the balance, it's been wonderful in terms of food prices, and I think it's been very helpful.
So that defeats the argument about...
Yes, entirely.
But it doesn't take away the fact that government has really, according to what the statistics are, and what we've had times past by precedent, not really supported agriculture, and so witnessed the commensurate growth.
Let me come. When you go to agri, the fact that if you do economics, what it means is that is the farmer losing out, but is he making that much profit? Are we benefiting from exports?
You tell me.
And I'm telling you that our export is not too up, but in terms of farmer losing out, it's not true.
But if your exports are not up, you're still within the limits with which you
exports. What the exports will do is coming to shore up the economy, because you export finished products more particularly. Now, if you look at some few agri sectors, if you go to Adosu on the Nsawam side, there's a company there who uses mangoes and other things. They export to Italy and Switzerland. They can't even get enough of raw materials here. At times they have to import some seasonally and get it going.
Yeah, because you're not supporting the sector, so farmers are not.
I'm saying that
that's the other side of the argument.
Because we do more seasonal production, that comes to bear. But I'm saying that the market is those are making it in Switzerland and Italy. So I'm saying that in terms of market is there now.
I don't get this. I won't buy this argument
in Ghana,
of yours.
You know that
because if you are supporting, then by this time we should be moving on to.
So what it means is that the opportunity for expansion is there, and that's the direction of government.
Because you're not doing it, that's why it's vacant.
No, you cannot really. If you do production levels, you need to take your time and do it.
Okay.
Now the market is there,
Wrap
the
up
opportunity is there, and that's why the
no point for you. The Ghana Bar Association has asked its members to endeavour to aid the Electoral Commission as it prepares to conduct this year's general elections. And we know that the national president of the GBA, Benson Nuchukwi, in a New Year message called on members of the Bar Association to help the Electoral Commission. We also know that this is coming on the back of all the calls for having the best intellectuals who could help monitor the elections. And also the Electoral Commission apparently receiving its final report from the eminent person who were put together as a committee to look at the concern that have been raised about the voters register, whether to have a new one or just update the current one we have. The Electoral Commission says it will do an audit and do an update. Is that a true reflection of what the consensus is? I have to start with you.
Okay. Well, Roland, before I come there, I just want to happen. Respectfully, what goes into what goes into the inflation?
You put me.
I know, I understand. Just 1 minute. What goes into the inflation basket? Determinants are that the factors that he mentioned. I mean, the issues that he mentioned: the kenke, the pure water, the tomato seller, and these are things that they use to determine the inflationary rate of this country. And if he says that these, I mean, for some time now they have been stable, then we ought not to have had inflation at where it is now. It should have been completely down. Point is that
we have food inflation.
Absolutely. Point is that we sit here. We sit in this country. Food security is under threat. because we have had to import almost everything here.
Oh, rather?
Of course.
I think that rice import has rather
they themselves told us
reduced.
In their budget, they told us that the growth of agriculture anticipated was 3.5%. Today, they themselves will tell us that it's 0.4%, the growth of agriculture. We didn't say it, they said it. So when he says that things are better, in fact, for me, I think that he's mocking Ghanaians now.
You made your point.
Okay, now let's go on. Bar Association says that Electoral Commission should...
the members should help with the Electoral Commission as it conducts its polls. But we know the Electoral Commission also says it has accepted the Committee of Eminent Persons report, which says that we don't need a new register. We need an audit.
Yes, indeed, as a party, a political party, we have been served by the Electoral Commission with a 77-page report coming from the 5-member panel that they put in place.
The EC has served you?
Absolutely. We have also been served with a 30-page report by the EC coming from the 5-panel report that they also received. Now, as a party, we yet to sit down, look at it. You agree with me and you recall that we actually initiated this investigation or called for investigation into our current register. And in fact, to a very large extent, we did mention that if we do have a new register that will compile, that will help the entire electionary system in this country, or election system in this country. Well, a panel came out, they gave their report. EC also looked at it and also gave us their report, and have come to tell us that, look, we don't need a new register. We're going to look at it. As a party, we're yet to sit down and come out with our response.
But what do you make of individually?
But now, whatever I'm going to say as a view, I believe that we and other political parties are not very different from the position that we have regarding the electoral register. The only difference is that we are calling for a new one, others are calling for auditing and then cleansing and all that. All boils down to the fact that we need a credible voter register for this election in 2016. That's what it matters, and that's what matters. I believe that, yes, Electoral Commission is going to do a good job to satisfy all of us. I believe that nobody is going to feel shortchanged. No political party is going to feel shortchanged when it comes to decisions taken by the Electoral Commission. All of us are going to be part of it. Transparency is going to be part of what we are going to do. We are also going to be vigilant and, of course, watch whatever is going on. Then we'll move forward. I will not say much until the response comes from a party. Then we'll
That's a formal response.
Yeah, Roland, democracy, what is it about? Popular participation, is that right? So,
well, it's one, but we also need consensus.
Oh, yes, definitely.
You may have a decision that is popular, but when you don't have consensus...
No, I'm saying popular, it will still be written by popular...
I do understand what you're saying, yes, but then you need a consensus, even from the majority side.
Oh, I'm talking about political party. I'm talking about popular participation. So you have a political party...
I'm not talking about political parties.
You have a political party, one entity which comes to complain. And normally politics, Ghanaians, who determines Ghanaians? Totality of Ghanaians, popular participation. So the EC, what do? Let's find a way to bring everybody on board. The EC does that. They receives all the complaints openly for all of us to hear, from all political parties, other interested groups, including NGOs and development partners. Eventually, there's a conclusion by the eminent persons. And the conclusion is that the allegation cannot be grounded, and therefore we should audit the register. Now, issues have come, and most occasions we have all said it, in terms of trust between political parties. And people normally say even the agents were even at a point at the Supreme Court had issues, but they're supposed to be your reps, is that right? So the Ghana Bar Association is saying that its members should avail themselves of the opportunity. Because remember, in spite of all consultations, accepting a credible result will still be your choice. You can decide to accept it, whether it's credible or not. It is your choice of acceptance. So they say that to avoid all these ones, let's encourage our members, because of their standing, to get involved in the process, so that eventually more of us. I normally use your station as an example in the 2012 elections. The anchor person that was monitoring elections was Kojo Ponkroma, if you remember. And you were receiving reports not from political parties and neither from your electoral commission. The people you set at all polling stations, and you're receiving direct reports. So I know why you called the results in your studios.
Provisional.
He called, he did not declare. At the point he called. And that's the reality of the situation. You can decide to accept it or not. Now we have a process. EC has come out. Thank God it says that for now, they have not looked at it. But GBA is encouraging its members be a part, and I support it very solidly. If that one will assure everybody that at least this is the situation, let's get them to get involved more. And I encourage GBA to go ahead with that particular.
But
That's
looking at
credibility.
but looking at the time we have, the Electoral Commission also will need to open the register. And
Yeah, it has brought a
they came up with the
timetable
calendar.
already.
Yeah.
okay.
They've already brought the timetable.
Yeah.
All right.
So you have to respond.
There will be a limited registration
Open and
exercise
transfers.
opened later. You see, but Roland, you see, point is that we've made these arguments over and over again. At a point when the former chairperson of the commission, Afarajan, the immediate past, was there, they did mention, the commission said that we were coming out to cleanse the register that we had and gave a figure over 13 million plus. By the time they finished cleansing, they
They answered that. They said at the time they hadn't finished. Yes.
But they hadn't finished before talking about cleansing.
Well,
I would have thought that logically, if you are cleaning something,
says it's always
and
a
the whole
continuous
thing is
process.
about-
They can even come out and say that.
Anyway, that's out.
That's
out.
didn't
But see, my point here is that Mr. Alexander Akon here is not saying that there's no problem with the voter register. He's saying that there's a problem with it. Let's audit and cleanse it. I'm not also saying that there's no problem with it. I'm saying there's a problem with it, but let's change it. That's where the difference is. But fact remains that the register as we have
Has a
is
problem.
not. I mean, it's very problematic, and that is why all of us are calling for it to be looked at
Roland,
into, and want a credible
very
one.
simple.
That's not what is happening.
We've changed register several times based on the same considerations. There's a cure. The cure is that no one political party will determine the direction of politics in this country.
Oh, you have a position. I have a position.
Come on, Dean. Relax, my brother. So let's all go to the same platform. You want consensus, and let's listen to everybody. We have listened to everybody. Eminent persons constituted to look at it. You don't go back to the subject.
Okay.
So let's go straight.
For all the things we have to wrap up now. Just a minute. For all the things that we say, the political parties need to trust the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission also needs to see that it has the trust of the Commission. You think that we're on the journey towards that?
Well, for me, like I said, I'm still waiting for the official response by the party. But me, if you ask me, I predicted this position long before even it came out. The posture of the Electoral Commissioner, the chairperson now, is not like someone who is indeed willing to give us that platform.
I know
where
it's an
all of us
individual,
will
but that's not a
that's
fair
an individual view. So of course, for me, that's why I said it's an individual view. For me, I think that immediately after the panel even finished their work, the response given by the chairperson of the commission gave me that
the
impression.
commission has
And
already
I only pray,
concluded
I
it.
only have to crave her indulgence, that they should try as
It's
much
not
as
her,
possible.
it's an institution, so
Of
don't
course,
make it
They
her.
should come out, but for she lost over them. I mean, she's the chairperson. She's on it, and she talks sometimes.
right.
And in terms of you have the veto, the casting vote.
Alexander, my
So
time
let's
is up.
let's
Roland,
My
look at
time
it.
is up.
Roland, the position.
They should try to
the
work out,
position
and let
of
us live,
one
let us feel
political
it.
party will not be a decision for the EC. We are all collective in that regard, and
Okay.
therefore your position is your
John
position.
Alexander
But we have our
Akon
position.
is
EC must be fair.
is the NDC parliamentary candidate for Obuasi West. I don't know.
Yes,
A deputy minister for gender, children, and social protection.
You are there.
Okay. And also, we've had in the studio Kamal Dean Abdullahi, the National Nasara Coordinator of the MPP. Very easy for me to say that. Always rhymes in my mind. Okay. Thanks for passing through the studio.
Thank you, Roy.
All of you, Happy New Year. Yeah. I wish you well in your endeavor as you hope to either retain or perhaps also...
No, may change.
Okay.
Change.
Make a
We will
change
have to
in
arise for
governance
change
this year.
because of this incompetence going on in
But
this
don't
country.
forget the media
Honestly,
will
need
play
to.
critical roles.
Of course, I know. But we need to rise up.
We
and
play
change.
critical roles.
Change
We're
this
taking a break. When we come back,
incompetence.
entertainment
Retention
will be here. We're taking a break. Entertainment.